Hey everyone, so earlier today I did a tutorial about Equihash 1445. You can see here how to set up Equihash 1445 ZHash for Bitcoin Z and SafeCoin. ZHash is what Bitcoin Z is calling it, but it was already proposed in the past. It's essentially Equihash, but they've changed the parameters from 209 to 1445. Now, the miner that I showed in the video and the one that everyone is using is this. This is EWBF CUDA Equihash miner version 0.2. Earlier on, when I did the video, I actually had version 0.1 installed, but you can see I've downloaded version 0.2 and I have installed it on Awesome Miner, so I'm now using version 0.2. And apparently this one has a performance boost of approximately 5% and it reduces the amount of rejected shares, etc. So what I want to do in this video is just kind of follow on from what I was talking about earlier on, about 1445. And I want to do some tests. So I want to do some tests and show you guys what kind of hash rate that you can expect to get. I'm going to reduce my memory and core clock, and then I'm going to reduce the power. I'm just going to basically just mess about with a few things, see what happens to the temperatures, see what happens to the hash rate. I saw some people saying some things in Discord about what kind of performance you can expect. For example, some people were saying the other day that you don't have to have high overclock settings for your memory clock and for your core clock, so you can bring them down. And if I brought my core clock and memory clock down, you know, and I'm getting roughly the same hash rate, then I will save money. I won't be using as much electricity. So this is something that I want to explore. So don't take what I'm going to say here as gospel. Don't take it as if this is, 100% what is going to happen in your configuration. I say this a lot, guys, but it is worth saying that you always have to test things yourself. When anyone says something about mining, whether one script is better than the other, one algorithm runs cooler or more efficient than others, test it for yourself, because your setup is different from my setup. I've got different GPUs from you, probably. I've got different GPUs, and my mining environment is different as well. Your room might be cooler, you might have better airflow than me, or it might be worse. So there's a lot of different things. So yeah, I hope you find this video useful. I hope you take something from the tests I'm going to do, but at the same time, remember, just use it as a guide more than anything else and do some tests yourself. So if I jump back over the browser, the first thing to note is that the hash rate is going to be different. You can see down here it's got expected performance, and it's got different hash rates for 1445 and for those who are using 1927. So these are different parameters, N and K, that's in the Equihash algorithm. And it says that 1445 uses approximately 2.2 gigabyte. I believe the old Equihash at 209 was using, I think it was half a gig. So 2.2 for 1445, that's what I'm focusing on. But 1927, which some people will use this for as well, apparently uses 2.9. So as far as sol rates go, it says here approximately you should get 1050 Ti, you should get 12, 1060s, I'm not sure what that is as far as 3 or 6, but it says 20, 1070 30, 1080 35, and about 55 for 1080 Ti's. Now you're going to see a variation with this, and it will depend, a lot of things, as I said, your environment that you're mining in and all that, but also the quality of your cards and also the silicon lottery. I have got a pretty good 1080 Ti's, probably one of the most expensive 1080 Ti's that you can buy, but my 1066 gigabytes are pretty cheap. They're kind of at the lower to mid end of the market. But what I'm going to do is modify my 1080 Ti. So they're saying I should get around 55 sols. Now that's different obviously from the hash rate from Equihash that was 209, where you got, say, 750 sols from a 1080 Ti. So what I'm going to do is I'll jump over here. And I don't want to go over it again, but you guys should know that to set this up, you need to add different parameters to the software. And you can do that by modifying the miner.cfg file, and you can modify it in this configuration file. Now you can do it differently in Awesome Miner. Awesome Miner is what I'm going to use. I don't use SMOS or EthOS or these other things. You'll have to look at how you set it up that way. How I have set it up is I have, if I manage the template here, I've set up a template, and in this template, I have used EWBF CUDA ZHash miner, and I've got a link. You can see it here, Equihash miner version 0.2, and I've linked to the miner.exe file. There. So you can, I've basically uploaded this software. Oh, I'm messing things about here. I don't want to be doing that. Which one was it I used? Was it this one? No, it wasn't. There's one of them I've uploaded them to. I'm undoing all my work. Right, I'm just going to cancel here, I think. Is that going to undo it? Yeah, so I think I've messed it up here as far as where I've installed this. Basically, this is how it works in Awesome Miner. You can upload the software remotely. So what you can do is you go here and, for example, select all these. You go to Tools and you go to Upload Custom Software, and then you can browse. You can upload the software. You can upload it. Now I've did that already, and I think what I've just done is I've basically undid all the work I did earlier with as far as the template. I need to get to the right location here. So browse uploaded software. That's because I've got lots of different rigs. There we go. Right, so I've got version 0.2 miner exe. Right, we got there in the end. So that's what you have to do if you're using Awesome Miner. So you can see I've got rig 4, and this is what we're going to be focusing on. My 5 1080 Ti's. So it's mining regular Equihash right now. 209 is the parameters, and you can see you've got between 720 and kind of 740, 750 sols. I'm going to stop that in a second, and I'm going to switch to here, which is 1445. Now, just quickly, one of the things that a few people said is that it runs cooler, it runs more efficient. I found that it runs a little bit cooler, but we're talking like, well, this is what we're going to explore. If you keep the core clock settings and the memory settings the same, and you just switch from 209 to 1445, I saw about maybe 2 degrees coming off. But you will see more, temperatures going down even more once you reduce your clock. So if you've overclocked your GPUs like I have, you will see a bigger drop in temperatures once you, you reduce the overclocking, you remove the overclocking. So right now I've got, what have I got here? 61 degrees, 61, 49, 56, 59. Those were a little bit higher earlier on. So yeah, 61, 61, kind of across the board. We'll say about 55, 60 average, but 61, 61, 56, 59. I'm going to stop that. And then I'm going to push start. So what I'm doing now is my rig of 5 1080 Ti's, which I've got hooked up here so I can see the accepted shares and all that. So I've got that hooked up here, and now my rig 4, my 1080 Ti's, is mining 1445. Now, it will take maybe a minute or so for this to kind of settle. You can see right away I've got 1 degrees less. There isn't a huge difference in temperatures there that I can see. It's certainly not as different as jumping from Equihash 209, the original Equihash, to something like Lyra 2Z, where your temperatures drop 10, 15, 20 degrees. Right now, that temperature is the same. So there doesn't seem to be a massive difference just by switching from Equihash to 1445. But where I think we will see a drop in temperatures here is when I change the GPU settings. So before we talk about temperatures and reducing the GPU settings, what I want to do is just quickly talk about the hash rate. As I said before, if you look at the CUDA Cache miner, it says approximately 55. And as I said, mines are quite good. But I seem to be getting 55 on the button right now. Got 55, 55, 56, 56, 55. So across the board, yeah, I seem to be getting what they said. Earlier on, I was getting a little bit more. I was getting about 57, 58. Hash rates do go up and down, so bear that in mind as well. But yeah, I'm getting what they said I would get. If I go to GPU settings there, you can see how I've got my 1080 Ti set up. Now, I've got my 1080 Ti set up all the exact same way. They're all set up the same way. I've got them underpowered, not undervolted, underpowered to 85%. I've got the core clock boosted up from 0 to 75, and I've got the memory clock boosted from 0 to 200 megahertz. And the fans are on a custom curve. I did a separate video about that before. Now, what I would say about that is that my 1080 Ti's, which you can see the boxes behind me, or you can't, those are the 1060s at the bottom. At the top's the 1080 Ti's, and my 1080 Ti's are ASIC Strix overclocked edition. So out of the box, my GPUs are quite overclocked as they are. So I can't really get a lot more out of them because they're already overclocked pretty high. But what I'm going to do now is remove the clock. So I'm going to remove the core clock setting and the memory clock setting. Now, you can do this through Awesome Miner, but I've got my other rig set up here and I'm going to change it on the other rig. The reason being that sometimes Awesome Miner can be a little bit funny because I've got a default profile set up for MSI Afterburner on my 4th rig, on my 1080 Ti rig, so that when the computer launches, when it reboots, the GPU settings are automatically applied. This sometimes can cause problems with Awesome Miner because Awesome Miner is saying set it at one level. If I change it in Awesome Miner, sometimes MSI Afterburner kind of overrides it. So I don't want to run into problems like that. It might happen, it might not. That's why I'm trying to avoid it. I'm just going to change it in MSI Afterburner. So what I'm going to do is keep the power limit at 0, but I'm going to remove, let me see, I'm going to remove the core clock. I'm going to remove the memory clock. That changed. Right. So let's see if is this going to work here. Okay. So you can see, when this was 75 before, this was 200. I've dropped them down to 0. So I've removed the overclocking settings. I still have it underpowered at 85%. I could change it to 100. That is an option. In fact, yeah, I'll do that just now. I'll change it to 100. Let's do that. And then what we're going to do, we can walk down, like say 15% increments, and then we'll get an idea of what's going on when you actually drop it down. In fact, for very quickly, what I'll do is I'll leave it at 85 just quickly, and then we'll go back. Right, the reason I'm saying that is I want to do a comparison because what we had before, we had at 85%, we had at 75 and 200 for the overclocking. And right now, I saw this earlier as well. And it does seem that when you remove the memory clock, I've kept it 85%, I've got 0 and 0. When you remove these overclocks, 75 and 200 that I had, you're not seeing a massive drop in hash rate. That's actually at 56, which is about the same as it was. But you've got 54, 54. I would say that we're knocking off about 1 sol. Just about 1 sol by removing the overclock settings. Now, I've dropped from I think I've maybe dropped about 10 or 15 watts off the power rating as well. Awesome Miner tells you about the power rating. So, even looking at there just now, the hash rate is actually at 56, 55. So, I think that I was monitoring this earlier on. I was doing a lot of tests. I think that when you remove the overclock settings in my situation, the way that I had it set up at plus 75, plus 200, I think I'm losing about a sol or 2 per card. But it does go up and down, and as you can see there, sometimes the sol rate hasn't dropped at all. Now what I'm going to do now is going to put it up to 100. So I've moved it up to 100%. So now what we've got exactly what my GPU is like out of the box. Out of the box, 100% power, no overclocking, nothing. This is how God intended. This is how they wanted me to have it outside the box. And you can see, 15% power isn't really making any change in the hash rate. So, it doesn't seem that 100% power makes any difference. So I'm going to drop it down. Now we've already seen it in 85. We've seen it at 85. I'm going to drop it down all the way down to 70. The joy of using multiple keyboards and mice. Right, so you can see here, this is integrated graphics, but the rest of them, they will all have the same settings. They've got the custom GPU fan curve. But I'm down at 70% and I'm down at 000. Now I could underclock the core clock and the memory clock. That's something else I could do, but I don't want to do that right now. I'm down at 70%, 70%. And there really doesn't seem to be a massive drop in hash rate yet. Well, actually, that's a lie. That's dropped down to 50. That's at 54, 55. But if you look down here at the power rating here, I'm at 191 watts. Now, before I was at 225, 240, when I was at like 85 and 100. It was a little bit higher. Now, it's important to remember, you know, as a miner, electricity is one of the biggest costs. My electricity bill every month, I don't even like looking at the bill. It's not great. I've been running Equihash for the last few months. It's not the cheapest algorithm to run, which is why I was kind of, you know, quite drawn towards Lyra 2Z. But if you look here, I think I'm going from about 55, 56, 57, dropping down to 70%. I'm heading down to the 52, 53 mark. So dropping from 85% down to 70%, removing the core clock, removing the memory clock, overclocking. You know, I've took them off. I've just got it at 0, which again, granted my GPUs are overclocked. I'm losing, by the looks of it, about another 2-3 sols. So I've kind of come down from 55, 56, 57. It's normally what I get in my previous settings. I'm down about 50, 51, 52. But you can see it even there, it's 54, 53. It's really, really good. And also the temperatures, obviously, when I'm dropping down the power rating, I've dropped this, you know, I've dropped maybe 2-3 degrees here as well, maybe 4 degrees in that one as well. So it's going a little bit cooler because I'm using less electricity. You know, when you're burning less electricity, your fans don't have to run as hard. So what I'm going to do now, you guessed it, I'm going to go down to $55. Here we go. Here we go, people. Right, so there you can see Awesome Miner shows you 55%. And as I said, I can actually change these settings here. I can kind of change things about there. But MSI sometimes does override things and they change it back. So I don't want any risk of that happening. So I'm at 55% power now, guys. 55% power. And it does take time. You know, I'm looking over at my other computer here. I'm not getting any rejected shares. But looking at the screen, it says that my sol rate is about 48, 49, 47 now. And you can see this dropping. So we're starting to see a bigger jump down now, but still, I've went from 100% power, 85% power. I've removed the core clock. I've removed the memory overclocking as well. And I'm still getting about 48, 49, 50 sols. So I've maybe lost 7, 8 sols, dropping from, you know, I've dropped 30% power. I've removed the overclocking. I've dropped my power efficiency right down as well. I've made it more efficient. Sorry, I've dropped down my power draw. So before I was at 225, 230, 235 watts. And I'm now hovering around the 145, 150 watts mark. So I am using a hell of a lot less. You know, the power has dropped by a huge margin. And I'm between 47 and 50 sols. And you can see this here, 47, 48, 50 sols. And it's the same here. I can see the actual DOS window in this other window. That is very, very impressive. You can see the temperatures dropping down there, 54 degrees. So I've dropped about 7 degrees off that. I remember those ones at the top were 61. My GPUs are running cooler as well. So that is pretty impressive. Now, I could actually undercut. Let's do that. Let's see how that goes on. I don't want to crash my rig. That's what I'm concerned about. But the name of the game is testing. So what I'm going to do, this is just let's drop this back down. Right. I'm doing a bigger test now. So what I've done now is I've dropped the power limit down even more. And so what you can see, what I've done now is I've jumped from 85 that had plus 75, plus 200. I jumped up to 100, 00, 85, 00, 70, 00, 55, 00. I've dropped it down to 45%, minus 75 for the core clock, minus 200 for the memory clock. That's what I've got on all my GPUs now. This is completely underpowered. I have completely reduced the power rating, and now I am drawing nearly half of what I was before. I've dropped right down to like 120 watts, even less there. 120 watts from a 1080 Ti. That is what you should get from a 1060 that's running at 100%. And by the way, as far as 1060s go, you can see I'm getting 21, 22. That's basically what they said I would get. But as far as here, yes, temperature's dropping even more. But hash rate is going as well. Hash rate is going. So that was not a successful drop. That was not a successful drop. I think it was wrong for me to drop the core clock and the memory clock so much. I think looking at how much that was dropping there, it's dropped down to 36, 37, 36. For me, that's too much of a drop for my hash rate. It's too much of a drop. At that point, you know what, that's a 1080 territory. I've effectively dropped my 1080 Ti down to a 1080. It's very low power, but it's too much of a drop in hash rate for me. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back up. Let's 60, just an arbitrary number. I'm just trying lots of things here. And I'll just here we go. So now 60% power, 0 core clock, 0 memory clock. I've got no overclocking or no underclocking either. The only thing I've done is underpowered it. I've reduced it by 40% down to 60. 60%, well, we're seeing the hash rate going back up. And we're seeing, what am I seeing there? 44, 45. Now, I haven't decided what power percentage to run this at. I really haven't decided yet. This wasn't the point of this video. I didn't want to do this video and say you have to run your cards at this rate for Equihash. You have to do this yourself. I'm going to just spend a little bit more time messing things around, but I think I am getting closer to my sweet spot. I think by the looks of it, 55, 60% power. It does seem to be around that mark is where I'm going to hit the sweet spot, because if you look at it here, now that it's settled, I'm getting 52, 49, 53, 51, 51. I've dropped my power rating from, maybe about 220, 230 watts down to about 160, 170? Maybe 165 average there. If you look at it, 169, 158, 170, 155. So there, I have reduced power by, by 60 odd watts, 65, 70 watts. Reduced power by 70 watts, say. Reduced my temperature by 6 or 7 degrees. And my hash rate is only went down about 4 or 5 sols. Now, my temperature's down there as well, dropped by 78 degrees. So that's at 60%. I'm going to play around with this more, guys. I'm not set on this. But what I will say is that on the surface, this looks quite encouraging. This does look quite encouraging. Whenever you can reduce your electricity costs, it's good. Whenever you can reduce your electricity costs, if you can reduce your electricity costs significantly and not affect your hash rate too much, then you're getting closer to your sweet spot. And that's really what I want. I want my electricity costs down, but I don't want my hash rate to be affected, because the hash rate, that determines how much money I make, how many coins I actually mine per day. Now, some of you might just think, I don't care, I'm going to run it 100% power. I'm thinking future value of the coin will completely, if you consider the fact that if you value a coin, it might only be priced 10 cents or 20 cents just now, but if you think, hey, 3 months down the line, this is a $5 coin, then there is the argument that you should just run your GPUs at 100%, 110%, get as much power as you can out of them for those extra 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sols, whatever you want. Now, I could be getting maybe another 5, 6 sols per card, I think, here. But I have reduced the power here by quite a significant margin. I haven't, as I keep saying, I haven't agreed on, I haven't decided, yes, this is how I'm going to set it up. I need to play around with it. I need to do some more calculations. I need to look at the hash rate and see what is the best way to set this up. I will take on board what other people are saying. But remember, a lot of these kind of settings as far as how your GPUs react to a drop in power or a drop in the core clock and things like that, a lot of it will come down to the card itself. But there's the silicon lottery there as well. If I jump over to my 1060s, I mean, just look at the difference here in temperatures alone. You've got one at 57 degrees, you've got one as high as 73 degrees, with the fan running at 93%. Some of these fans, I've moved them around once or twice as well. It doesn't seem to make any difference. Some of these GPUs run a lot different than others. 20, 21, 20. It does seem to be quite consistent there across them all. 20, 21, 22. But those are, I think those are running at 70% power. Now, I'm going to have to do the exact same thing with my 1060s as well, guys. This is the thing. Once I move over to 1445 and I start mining SafeCoin tomorrow, I'm going to have to tweak things. I'm going to have to go, right, what's the power rating for these 1060s? But what I'm going to do today is do more testing, and I'm going to use Bitcoin Z to do that. I'm going to test things with Bitcoin Z, and I want to get closer to the sweet spot. I think I'm getting there. 60% for my 1080 Ti's seems to be okay, but for my 1060s, could be a completely different story. Thanks for watching, guys. If you are mining Bitcoin Z, if you are mining SafeCoin or any other coin that does adopt this Equihash 1445 algorithm, post your results to, down below in the comment here. Let me know what cards you've got. Let everyone know what temperatures you're seeing, what hash rate you're getting, and let us know how you're getting that. You know, what's your GPU settings? What are you underpowering? Are you overclocking, underclocking? Let us know. This is a brand new algorithm, so I think at this point, you know, the more that we share information, the better. And I'm not saying that whenever someone else says something like, hey, don't overclock or don't underclock, I'm not saying don't believe them. I'm saying use it as a guide. Don't use it as concrete 100% true. You need to test things yourself, guys. So thanks for watching. You know, I'll leave you at 60% power here, 50 souls or so. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and get out there, guys. Try this new algorithm. Try this new miner. Mess around with things, and remember that different factors can influence your hash rate. When that miner is upgraded to version 0.3, you might see slightly different results. When the temperatures drop, when the temperatures go up, there's so many things to consider, guys. So just remember and bear that in mind. Do lots of testing, and good luck mining when it does. When the algorithm is actually adopted by SafeCoin, and there's a few other coins considering it as well. So stay tuned for that as well. Thanks for watching, guys. I do appreciate it. Please do click subscribe if you haven't done so, and I will speak to you all very, very soon. Take care.